Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to The Disciplined Guy. I've got a good story for you, and this is one it's a little bit outside of my realm of knowledge. I can still give some suggestions on this one, but let's see what y'all got to say about this one. This one's titled, "I, 28-year-old male, can't have children, and my wife, 27-year-old female, doesn't want to adopt." So that's an interesting topic, and it's going to be some good conversation going on with this one. Let's jump into the story. Before that, everybody, please take a second to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm seeing some traction. I appreciate everybody that's giving some traction to the video. I would like to do this full time, and you subscribing and liking the channel is going to contribute to that. I appreciate y'all. If you like the stories, please subscribe and like the video. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so starts off, "My dream is to be a father, but I'm sterile." Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that, guy. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. If you want to be a father and you can't have your own kids, it takes some time to be able to move past that situation. You could still be a father to a child out there. There's a lot of different ways, and we're going to talk about in this story, so I won't ruin that, but there's still hope for you to be a father. All right, let's keep it going. "I want to adopt, but my wife is against it." Ooh, man, that's tough. That's tough. "And I was adopted." So he wants to adopt, but his wife is against adoption, and he was an adopted child. That's an interesting situation. Let's keep going. "She wants to undergo artificial insemination, but I'm against that." Ooh, we're losing options here. Okay, "I'll share a bit of my personal story to help you understand the whole situation." Okay. "I was abandoned by my biological parents when I was very young and was adopted when I was 8 years old. My adopted parents were wonderful to me." See, there are people who are just great human beings out there. I know we talk about a lot of people who are terrible human beings, but there's a lot of great human beings out there, and who would take a child in to be able to raise them and give them a good life. So that's awesome that you had that experience. "And I have a brother who is the biological child of my adoptive parents, 3 years older than me." So even had some siblings. Man, that's a great thing. That's something that's not a good situation that seems like it was turned into a good situation. I'm happy you had that experience. "I believe that being abandoned had a profound effect on me." Yeah, most definitely. If you know about it, that's something for therapy. "And I always have a strong desire to be a father and have children." Makes sense, because you don't want to do the things that were done to you. So you want to usually do those things that were bad that were done to you. You want to have an opposite effect on your kids. I get that. One thing that I'll talk about real quick, coming from a culture where using a belt on a child, that was a very commonplace thing. Very commonplace. I had that happen to me. In saying that, I think there's other ways to raise kids out there. We don't do that to our children. It's not how we raise them. We don't want them to feel like anytime they do something wrong, it's going to come to a belt. Well, that's not the way we raise our kids. All right, let's keep going. "I met my wife when I was 19 and she was 18. I've always been open about her. I've always been open with her about my history, providing all details, and I made it clear that my dream was to have a family with more than one child. She also expressed a desire to have a family, and there was never an issue." Okay, that sounds good. I'm glad y'all had that conversation up front. For these big topics, you definitely want to have this conversation when you start getting serious. So good stuff. "We got married, and it's been about 2 years since we decided it was time to have our first child." I think it's too soon to have a kid that young. I think it's too soon for you to get married that young. Everybody has a different path in life. I think people need to see more experiences, and getting married at the age of, it'll be 26 for him and 25 for his wife, I feel like that's just too young. I feel like you haven't had enough life experience yet, and you getting married too young can become a life experience, and you don't necessarily want to be a learning experience. All right, let's keep going. We started trying, but she didn't get pregnant. So we sought medical advice to understand, excuse me, if there was any issue. It was then found out that I'm sterile and my wife doesn't have any medical problems. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. That's so sad. I was devastated. But since I myself was adopted, I saw adoption as the ideal situation. Totally understand that. I suggested to my wife that we should adopt, but she was against it. She cited reasons, in reality, based on prejudice against foster kids. So you are married to a person that is prejudiced against foster kids, based on what he's saying. I don't have her account of this story. That is prejudice against foster kids, but you were a foster kid. Man, that's gotta hurt in a very bad way. You can have a conversation about this, maybe work through it. We're going to talk about some possible solutions later on. Okay, let's keep going. I was deeply saddened by this because when you talk about one of those children, you're also talking about me. That completely makes sense. We've had many discussions, but I haven't been able to change her prejudice views. Wow. So you've put in the due diligence to be able to try to work through this, and she's not budging. This may be one of them situations where you can't come to a solution to the problem. I'm going to talk about a couple of them, but that may be one of the solutions that you can't come to a solution. And that's going to be a hard path to face if that's the case. On the other hand, she proposed that we should undergo artificial insemination with an anonymous donor. I disagree with this because it would cost a lot of money, and I feel it's unfair to act so selfishly when there are thousands of children waiting to be adopted. I understand that concept, but I understand her wanting a child that is from her as well. I understand both sides of the argument. Our marriage is going through a serious crisis because of this. I can't comprehend how she can hold such opinions about adoption when being married to me. Maybe she had some kind of traumatic experience. I would love to hear more details about it, but I understand your feelings behind this. I'd appreciate any suggestions on how to change her mind. I'm seriously considered separation because being a father is the dream of my life. However, I still love my wife. When separating over this issue be too extreme, I'm really lost. Wow, that's something. If you can't come to a compromise on this, then yes, you're going to have to separate. If that's your goal to be a father, then and y'all can't come to a compromise on it, then yeah, you're going to have to separate. I hate to say that, but I'm glad to give that advice. Giving some possible solutions to the problem. You've talked about really the two that I would think about. Sometimes compromise in a marriage, and this is a big one to compromise with, is doing both of the things. So I don't know if you've proposed, hey, what about if we adopt one child? And what about if we do artificial insemination for one child? And then you're both getting some of what you want. That's an option I thought about for this story. It's still a big one because you're both really sacrificing something that is really huge to you. You're adamantly against doing artificial insemination because of the cost, and also there's plenty of children out there that need a home. And she's adamantly against going the foster route because of some predetermined ideas that she has. I don't know her side, so I'm not going to jump on her too much. If you can't figure out what to do, you're going to have to separate. If you do decide to separate, it's going to be tough. You're breaking away from a person that you love. I always tell people the time that you were together, half that time is going to take to break up. So if y'all have been together since you were 19 and now you are 28, that's 9 years. So four plus years, 4+ years to be able to get over her. That's tough. That's tough. I get it. I get it. I hope y'all do work this out. I think the suggestion I gave is a good one considering the circumstances, but maybe y'all will figure out something else. Maybe y'all figure out some other way to compromise, or maybe one person decides to give. I don't know. This is a big thing to compromise on. I recognize that on his face. He does give a little bit of an update here. He says, I forgot an extremely important point when I wrote. My wife said that if we have a child through artificial insemination, we would be the biological parents, even though I'm not the biological father. I completely disagreed with that. I believe we need to be as honest as possible with the child. So yeah, that don't lie to the kid. Don't lie to the kid. There's things that are age appropriate that you tell a child, but when it is age appropriate, I don't lie to the kid. That's not okay. That's not okay. And he wouldn't be the biological father. That's not how that works. I know I know the wife wants to keep the marriage going and wants to make it so that her husband has these feelings that he's always wanted, because they've been together for a while. But lying about it, I think that leads down a dark path. So just don't do that. All right, what y'all think on this one? This is tough. This is a tough one. I hope this couple works through it. I hope everything works out for them. What do y'all got? All right, everybody. That's all I got for this. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good day. I'll see y'all next time.